back to The Jump. I'm Malika Andrews here with Dave McMenamin and Nick Friedel. Let's get to the Lakers, who added Russell Westbrook and a bunch of other veteran players this offseason. And Russ was asked about critics who say the team is too old. And he said, quote, "We got a team full of nice, experienced vets that's going to kick these young bleepity bleep bleep." Dave, you cover the Lakers. What do you make of these bleeped out comments from Russell Westbrook?
Well, they better beat these young teams he's talking about. That means they're the teams you're playing in the regular season. They better rack up a lot of wins. And Melo said in his introductory press conference that we all know what we're here for and we got to win. There's that built-in pressure here. Now, in the playoffs and the finals, should they get there won't be young teams. There'll be more veteran-laden rosters. They just got to win. I mean, they made these moves to put together a championship team. Rob Pelinka said it in his comments, saying it's all about being obsessed with championship number 18 for the franchise. So, yeah, beat the young teams, beat the old teams, beat the teams in the middle. You got to win, Lakers.
And they weren't built for 3 or 4 years, as we know. They were built for this season. This is like team load management. Every day you're going to be tweeting out, oh, God, okay, somebody else is sitting down. Because the key is not these games in February, March. They need to be ready for the postseason. If they get there, I think they can have a legit chance. My fear is when you have that many older guys, even as proud as they are and as talented as everybody is, LeBron on down, you just worry about the health staying there for 82 games plus a long postseason run.
Well, we just saw a graphic, right? 31.8, as I mentioned at the top of the show. That would be the oldest roster to win. There are 5 teams that have a median age of 31 that have won in the past, but that is it. So Dave, what have you been hearing about sort of how the Lakers are viewing this? Forget outside critics, inside the team, how are they viewing this age dynamic?
Well, you know, Frank Vogel is one of the most counterintuitive things you'd think with a aging roster is that we want to be a fast-breaking team. Right. And he believes that they can do it based on the personnel in LeBron and Westbrook being so great in the open court. But, of course, they're going to have to get the requisite defensive stops and get up and down the court and stay healthy to do so. Listen, every single player that they picked, part of the Rob Pelinka plan is to get the sign-off from AD and LeBron on those players. He wants them to have equity in the decision-making process. And so there's no haphazard choices here. They believe all the guys they have are going to fit a certain way. They got to prove it.
Dave, to your exact point, though, this is why I think the Lakers can do it, because they all know what they're getting into. And there's all these different questions about, can Russ fit in? Can Carmelo at this stage do what they're going to need him to do? They wouldn't have gone on this team and joined forces if they didn't believe it can happen. The only thing that scares me, guys, is you look at that graphic and you go, man, they're old. Like, they are legitimately pretty old, but they've got a hell of a lot of talent. You just wonder if the talent together is enough at this stage in their career.
Well, LeBron continues to weigh in on the age factor. Thank you, as if I didn't need more to. I think that's a gas emoji to gas me. #WashedKing. So clearly this is going. Here we go again. Nick, you're going to be saying that all season long. You're going to be calling up Dave, and you're going to be saying, here we go again. This is a discussion again and again. We also know the Lakers, right? They've made some changes to their training staff to try to maintain that health, right?
Yeah, they were ravaged by injuries last year, and they made decision to completely overhaul their training staff, and we'll see. I mean, it was kind of a knee-jerk reaction to what occurred on the court. You could say that they were freak injuries, but they are trying to get ahead of that by putting health at a premium.
I hope your gas tank is ready to go, because the amount of storylines and soap opera in this team this year, you better load it up, baby, because every day I'm going to get a text like
October 19th. Oh, you're right around the corner.
And you're not going to, not a day sooner. Let's move on to NBA 2K 2022 ratings, which have stirred up a lot of buzz online. We know LeBron's been tweeting a lot about some other stuff, but this is on there too.
Say about his Lakers and some of the folks that question their experience, we'll call it. Quote, "We got a team full of nice, experienced vets that's going to kick these young bleep Jalen Anthony Rose. What do you think about Russell Westbrook's confidence in his veteran-laden Lake squad?" David Jacoby, you know how this works in basketball. It don't matter where they're playing. When the old guys come to the court and they still got some game and they got their own built-in team, they might not be able to play 10 games, but they're going to dominate those 5 games. That's what he's talking about. The 82 games, Russell is going to be going 100 miles running. And a lot of those fast breaks, he's going to be out in front of the pack. And rightfully so, because he doesn't necessarily play his age. He's going to be at home. Russell, this is going to be like on steroids. Imagine wherever your favorite energy drink is, or caffeine or whatever. Russell's going to be that times playing in front of his home fans. A finals, but never overlook. And I got to make sure I always do this. The Milwaukee Bucks. Because what I saw Giannis do this year was truly special.
Well, Jalen, when you look at this Lakers team, right? LeBron James, before the injury, was the MVP leader. Like, it was basically him and Embiid neck and neck for the MVP. He's aged, but his game is still as effective as ever was. Russell Westbrook, do you remember what he did with the Wizards? 30 games with the Wizards, absolutely tore it up. He's still at the peak of his powers. AD is in his late 20s. I would say Carmelo Anthony's game has suffered due to his age, but the main three are still at the peak of their powers. Is LeBron as explosive as he used to be? No. So I don't doubt this team because of their age. I think they kind of make up this narrative. You mentioned, look at the odds in the Western Conference. They are favored. Not just by a little bit, by a lot. Look at this, plus 170. That goes all the way to plus 450 for the Warriors. So it's basically the Lakers and then a huge gap and everybody else in Western Conference. Like you said, I would be shocked if they did not represent the West in the finals. And if that wasn't the case, it is most likely due to injury, not because of roster construction.
Well said, and I agree. And what you said about Melo, one thing he has done is reinvent himself as a three-point shooter, over 40% last year.
Yep, and he's going to get a lot of catch and shoot threes more than he's ever gotten in his career because of the creativeness of the playmaking of LeBron James and Russell Westbrook. Jim Rose, we
Summer League is over, so it's time to run it back to the best plays of the last 3 weeks. Number 5, Troy Baxter touches the sky for a big oop. Oof. That was pretty.
Oh, gosh.
Look at this.
I love the one-hand cockback catch.
Look how far his arm,
Incredible. It dislocates his shoulder doing it.
Ouch.
That's a little learning to fly style right there.
Yeah.
That was
videotape.
Beautiful.
What's a video game, Nick?
Back in our day.
Oh, man.
We may not know what it is.
Number 4, Jonathan Kuminga puts the defender on skates and packs it. I do. Thank you very much. Look at this, though.
He was a highlight machine in Vegas.
It was amazing.
Really incredible. And to finish, he had finishes around the rim, not just off the bounce, but offensive tip backs.
And the call was great. Cam Thomas wins it for the Nets in sudden death. I mean, it doesn't get really better than that. That's what it's all about.
And if you can give a little more production off that Brooklyn bench, oh my, they're going to be loaded up.
And that was in a Bontemps survey about Jeff Green. How much concern do they have about their bench? He helps with that. Number 2, Kai Jones is all over Kenneth Faried, the vet.
Didn't have to do the manimal like that.
Yeah, that wouldn't have happened to Fareed back in the day, but that one was
Actually,
rough to watch.
Kind of a business decision by Fareed there.
I'm not going to be put on a poster today. Well, number 1 goes to Greg Brown as he goes through the legs on the break.
That is dunk contest worthy material in the middle of a game.
Bulletin board. Bam.
Sign him up.
I mean, hey, that's beautiful.
Loved it.
LeBron was watching. He showed some love to Brown, too. I mean, my goodness. On the break, sheesh.
Coming from a guy who once threw it off the backboard to himself for a dunk in an NBA Finals game.
Yeah.
It's someone who